njogera Olufalansa n'Abaganda.
Yamo, français, Lako.
Enelango français.
French language in Uganda.
Hello, my name is Pauline Dinet. I'm the head of courses at the Alliance Française de Kampala. This is our first episode of our podcast. I am with two very dear guests, Mrs. Léa from the French Embassy.
Hello.
And I'm with Mrs. Agatha from the APFO.
Hello.
So the APFO, maybe we can say a few words about the APFO. I don't know if the listeners are very familiar with it.
Hello, dear listeners. My name is Agatha Tumwine. I'm the president of the Association of Teachers of French in Uganda, commonly known as APFO. APFO is a national association, non-profit making, that brings together over 350 teachers of French based in primary schools, in secondary schools, in tertiary institutions, and universities throughout the country here in Uganda.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Agatha. And so I mentioned Alliance Française, where I work at. So Alliance Française is a cultural and language center that has been around in Uganda since 1954. We're part of a network of about 800 Alliance Française in the world. So we teach French. That's our main activity to people of all ages. We also teach Swahili, English, Spanish, and Luganda. And we also are a cultural center with many cultural activities. We also do translation. Yes, so that's Alliance Française in a nutshell. So as I mentioned, we are also here with the Embassy of France in Uganda with a representative. Maybe Léa, you can introduce yourself a little bit.
Yes, of course. Hello, I'm Léa Tracol. I work at the French Embassy as a cooperation attaché.
Thank you, Léa. So once again, thank you to our dear guest for being here on the first episode of the podcast. So as you might guess, since we have the French Embassy, the APFO, representing teachers of French, and Alliance Française teaching French, we are going to do episodes here in this podcast that are related to French language in Uganda. So you will have many different episodes talking about our activities, but also how you yourself as a listener can learn French, can partake in our activities. You will hear stories of people who are learning or who learned French and how they benefit or benefited from it, how you can study in France or work in France, etc. So today in this first episode, we are going to talk about the big framework in which this podcast is seeing light, which is the FEF. Now, Léa Tracol, I'm going to ask this question to you. What is a FEF?
That's a complicated question. A FEF is a Team France Fund, and it's a funding scheme of the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and it allows embassies in the whole world to carry out innovative, quick impact and highly visible actions for the benefit of local populations in every country. So it can be for human development, like in the field of education, agriculture, health, etc. And this year, it's a Team France Fund, or FEF, for promoting high quality and harmonized French language teaching in Uganda.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Léa. So here, what exactly are we going to do in this project? Because my understanding is it's a 2-year project with quite some money involved, more than 200,000 euros.
Mm-hmm. 288,000 euros, yes.
Thank you. So yes, absolutely. So what actions are we going to do? Because the reason why today we are here with APFO and Alliance Française is because those will be the two main actors in the end. Léa, the FEF, do you have that every year? Do you as an embassy, no matter the country, receive this? How exactly does it work? Why do we have those funds today?
Each embassy, we can, so as an embassy, we can identify some problems or needs in the country, and we can work with local partners to help solve these problems or to try to develop different areas. So that's why we decided to work with APFO and Alliance Française of Kampala to promote to promote the French language in Uganda and to improve the teaching of French, because we identified with the Association of Teachers of French in Uganda and the Alliance and the Ministry of Education that there were difficulties in, for example, access to resources for the teachers, because most of the teachers that are in the regions in Uganda don't have the same access as the teachers in Kampala, for example, or they don't have digital resources, or they have bigger groups in class, so it can be difficult. They don't have the same class problems. So we wanted to promote a high quality teaching of French and to try to harmonize a little bit the teaching of French. We also identified that we wanted to implement some activities at the secondary level, because the teaching of French has become optional in Uganda. So we wanted to help the teachers develop their pedagogical approach and skills. So very often teacher training is limited to vocational training, and teachers do not benefit from continuing education opportunities during the career. And it's difficult to assess the level of teachers, particularly as taking the DELF-DAF exam due to a lack of resources. And most teachers as well are unaware of the common European framework of reference for languages, or they don't use it as a teaching tool, and often they rely on old textbooks. So that's why we wanted to work on that area.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Léa. It's true that I think everyone can agree that there's a gap between the teaching of French in Kampala, the capital, and elsewhere in the country. And that's definitely why we are implementing some actions to make French language, the learning of French language sustainable and of a better quality. Right? I guess that's what the FEF is about, right?
Yeah, exactly. And also the context in Uganda is quite favorable to the French language, and the French has become the third official language of the East African community in 2021, and the Democratic Republic of Congo has access to this community the same year. So it is the most French speaking country in the world. There are opportunities for the French-speaking people and Ugandans. So that's why that has created a need for French.
Thank you, Léa. What are the objectives, if I may say, here? What are we really trying to achieve?
So the FEF project aims to improve the teaching of French in Uganda at the secondary level, and in 5 main areas. So it aims at professionalizing and harmonizing the training and pedagogical engineering of French teachers throughout Uganda. It also aims at strengthening the motivation, dynamism, and innovative spirit of teachers that can work together and be trained together. Improving as well the structure of the network of the French teachers that can meet and exchange resources as well. And also raise awareness among school headmasters of the benefits and advantages of the French language for Uganda. It also aims at enabling young Ugandans to familiarize themselves with French in a fun environment, and to become aware of the advantages of the French language for their future lives, professional lives, as personal lives. The FEF project is made of 2 components. One will be implemented by the Alliance Française of Kampala, and the objective is to improve the teaching of French at secondary level. And the second one will be implemented by the APFO, and I will let them detail the activities that we will implement.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So Agatha, could you maybe talk first about the component, the activities that APFO, because of this support we're getting from the French embassy in Uganda, what actions in these 2 years are you going to put in place?
Thank you so much, Pauline. This project, and I of course want to thank the French embassy in Uganda for this support. The next 2 years, APFO is going to be very busy. It has trainings for teachers of French countrywide, but we shall also begin by have the TOT training, trainers of trainers. These are the teachers, mainly regional representatives, who will attend a training in Kampala. Actually, it is going to take place from 27th of June to 1st of July at Makerere University Business School. And these teachers will also have to go and share the knowledge, the skills they have acquired with their colleagues in the different regions. And the training is very important for us. Reason, as you're all aware, Uganda, everyone is talking about the new lower secondary curriculum that is being implemented, where we have the first pioneers of O-level or lower secondary being this year, 2024. They are now in senior 4. But the National Curriculum Development Center has done a lot to put in place activities, training teachers. But as you know, French is an optional subject, so it is never given that special attention. If I can give an example, out of more than 200 teachers of French who teach in secondary schools, only about 5 have been trained, and I could say they are considered among the master trainers of NCDC, meaning the rest of the French teachers, they are there, they are teaching, yes, but everyone is doing their own thing. So this training is going to help us to really guide teachers, because it is going to be mainly about the new secondary curriculum, new lower secondary school curriculum. So teachers should be able to refresh their teaching methods. So this gives a chance to all the teachers of French countrywide. But also this training is important for teachers to meet, Sometimes when you're working in your own circle, you're just there working, sometimes you get confused. But when they meet, 5-day training, they also share ideas, share experiences. How are you handling? We have many activities. They are talking about activity of integration. So this is also an opportunity for peer support. And just like Léa was saying, to make sure that the gender issue, gender equality is emphasized. Sometimes the female teachers are left out. So for us, we put it as a policy that, for instance, even during the training for the trainers of trainers, it is compulsory. The new lower curriculum came with its own it has good things, but also had some challenges. We realized that some schools, they have really big numbers in a class. You have over 100 students learning a language. In a language learning and teaching, that is almost impossible. So it is also in these trainings we shall be learning techniques. How do we handle the big classes?
Definitely, yes. So thank you, Agatha. Indeed, it's worth mentioning here, because you're talking about the training of trainers. This also has one activity that Alliance Française has already done last month, actually. We started the training here at Alliance Française as an inauguration of the FEF project, where those same people that are going to train in 5 different trainings throughout the country, they were trained in the European Framework for Languages in French, because basically you have different levels, and then you can take an official certification of DELF. And now, as I said earlier, it's very centralized in Kampala. So the idea would be maybe long-term to have certification centers throughout the country where people can get their DELF valid for life without having to travel all the way to Kampala. They also got training in, as you were talking about, gender, right? General inclusion, gender, but also in many aspects when you teach, including everyone. That was very interesting. And also definitely of how to build lesson plan, which definitely will be very useful also when they get to know more about the new curriculum, definitely in terms of teaching methods. So Agatha, that's the first activity you're kicking off with, but I think you have also other things planned, right?
We have several other activities. The second, and that is more exciting for us, is the French language camp. We are calling it Kalufu, Camp Ludique Francophile Uganda. These are camps that are meant for learners in secondary schools. And we are basing listeners out there, some of them know in the past, we used to have the FEF, where we bring together students who learn French in one space from different schools. So we are also going to have these camps using co-curricular activities, a whole week practicing French outside the class. Because these students in their schools, they use demonstration where the teacher comes to class with a book, maybe saying bonjour, now today we are doing this, and the only person they have seen who speaks French is their teacher. The teacher is everything. But this gives them an opportunity to meet other teachers, the facilitators. Also, we have what we call them les animateurs, the young teachers who are really full of energy, who know how to teach French through activities like sports, cooking, to make sure that you make the language fun. So we are going to have the first two camps this year. We shall have the first camp this year, which will take place at Seta High School, Mukono campus. That is for the central region of maybe 300 learners. But looking at the numbers of students in schools around the central, which is big, we may have up to 1,000 learners of French in that camp. Please, listeners out there, if you have your students in the senior 1, senior 2, senior 3, even up to senior 4, 5, and 6, but mainly senior 1, 2, 3, please don't hesitate to send them. Contact your teachers in the regions. So we shall have one in the central region this year and another one in western region. It is taking place at Kasese Secondary School in Kasese. So western region, right from Hoima, Masindi, going to Mbarara Bushenyi up to Kisoro, we expect learners to attend. So the rest of the camps will happen the second year. We shall have one in Jinja, that is for the eastern region. We shall have one in Igulu for the northern region. And we shall have another camp in Arua.
That's very exciting. Thank you so much. So I know that in those 2 years you have more activities. Can you say a few words about those?
We intend to produce our contextualized teaching materials using authentic materials. But on top of that, we shall also do the audiovisual. There's the audiovisual part. You realize that the textbooks that NCDC has produced for French, yes, they are dialogues, they are conversations, but they don't have the audio part. So we believe as APFO, because of this support from the French Embassy, we shall also give back to society by working in partnership with NCDC so that we can at least have some of those dialogues recorded, because you cannot teach a language without putting the listening comprehension. So we believe when we record these audios, the learners out there will have access. We shall all benefit as a country. So this also helps in the teaching and learning of French. And these are, because in the past we've always had materials, especially the textbooks, whereby the recordings maybe are people from not within, and the context is not Ugandan. In the past, most of them were from West Africa. And someone you find, I remember when I was a teacher in secondary school, the students had also given me a name, Madame Turi, because of the names in the books, they were not contextualized. But if you have in the book, you have Tumwine, Akelo, Okelo, Lukwago, the names that learners relate with. Nansamba, it becomes close to them. I think those are some of the things. And with this, we shall begin with the head teachers, because learning a language, especially French, it's the head teacher who will decide that on the program, I'm going to have French, I'm going to have German. It is also one way we are going to reach out to the head teachers to showing them facts about the importance of French. That is it's one of the international international language is actually the second used with the UN agencies, so many, how French is the third used, I think, on the internet and information. All those, that information is necessary for people to know. And also to know that the learners, when what can they do with French if I study French? Because that's the question secondary school students keep on asking. You people who are studying French, do you want to go to France? Yes, why don't you do CRA? Why don't you do this? Right now, people who are out there, they know. I know even there are interpreters and translators who are listening. Interpretation is the most, I think, lucrative profession right now. The interpreters are highly paid. Knowing an international language like French is not only just for teachers of French, but anyone. We normally see people who are already in the field who come say, no, I wish I had learned French. Now I went for an interview and they said I needed 12 French, at least B1 or B2, and they are regretting. So us as the teachers of French, we don't want the future Ugandans to miss out on such opportunities that languages present. This is a point, an opportunity for us to let Ugandans know that the language is important and we all need it. It is not only for teachers of French, and knowing a second language doesn't mean that I am forgetting my mother tongue. Being multilingual is the way to go. I can move to Burundi and be comfortable. I can go to Rwanda. So just the same, because some people think when you learn an international language, a foreign language, that is imperialism. No, with the globalization today, with this international cooperation, I think as Ugandans, we need to really think ahead and get to know, to make sure that our young future generation don't miss out on opportunities because of not knowing a language.
Thank you, Agatha. And indeed, as you said, French opens many opportunities in the future, professionally speaking mostly. And that's actually one of the actions of Alliance Française with this podcast, which you're listening the first episode of. Because here you will be hearing more episodes, mostly about professionals talking about, their experience with French and all of that. So stay tuned for more. And Alliance Française also has another last activity, because Agatha was talking about the different camps in French in the country. So for us, Alliance Française, we will also visit schools in the countries to first do activities in French, right? To boost the knowledge, to boost the tools that are used. And we will also give a label, we will certify some schools in French. The idea here is really to make the learning of French sustainable throughout the country. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Agatha. So, dear listeners, well, that's it for our first episode. Stay tuned for more. Thank you for listening. And thank you, Léa and Agatha, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.
À la prochaine.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
À bientôt.
À bientôt.